Hey guys, welcome back to another week of e-commerce marketing chats where Charles and I are just talking all things e-commerce. Charles had an interesting interview this week with someone kind of in the space, so we might chat a little bit about that today. And yeah, I'll be talking about what I'm seeing in client land and kind of what we're working on as well, and probably a bit of mentality around running an e-commerce store and kind of what I see in the successful founders versus the ones that kind of stay stagnant over a period of time. I think I'd like to cover that a bit. And yeah, I'm sure Charles has got some things that he wants to cover with you guys tonight. So, Charles, any pressing topics that you'd like to dig into tonight?
I think going over some like SEO fundamentals, I was going through a client's site today, and there's a few things that, from my perspective, is kind of my bread and butter, but lots of e-commerce stores completely miss. So making sure the what they call the on-page SEO is properly optimized on your homepage and your collection and product pages. So a couple of things that I think I want to mention on that, because if they're happening on one of my client sites, then they're more than likely happening on other stores as well. Yeah, as you mentioned, I had an interview with the largest digital PR agency in the world, the founder of that. So I had some interesting insights from him. And I'm also building out a an e-commerce directory of kind of recommended freelancers and agencies. And I kind of wanted to have a talk about that. Yeah, I can go into a bit more detail as we go on
If
during
you
this episode.
if you find any good email designers, let me know.
Is that what you're hunting for at the moment? Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to find someone that you're kind of looking for, and then the ones that you do find that are good are probably, especially Australian ones, they're so expensive. But if the right fit's there, then definitely willing to take that for the email service that we're building out. But yeah, I find, especially in this space, a recommendation coming from someone that you've recommended and worked with before carries so much more weight than just going out and finding someone on your own a lot of the times. Yeah, I'll definitely check out that directory when it's up and live. So I'm sure you'll put it in the show notes once it's up and live. That sounds good. Just
Yeah. Well, I wanted to,
keep going.
yeah, I wanted to kind of, exactly right. I wanted to build one where I wasn't just letting, any agency or freelancer be on the directory, but people that I've either personally worked with or I know for a fact deliver great results for their clients. Um, so yeah, that's kind of what gave me the idea. Plus, I actually have built this entirely using AI. For reference, I have no coding skills, and I've been using this tool, and I've been like trying to immerse myself and learning more about this, these AI tools.
Which tools specifically are you using to build this?
Bolt.new. This is
Yeah,
my, yeah. I think it's one that I mentioned in the last chat that we did, but it's kind of blew me away, like in terms of the results. And I'm kind of
so
learning.
what are you using? So it's not just, are you actually building a directory not for your current website, or is it a directory under a new domain name?
No, it will be from my current website. And actually, the hard part wasn't building it. That was actually the easy part. The hard part is now figuring it out from someone who's not the most technical when it comes to kind of the domain transfer and getting, the hard part is actually getting it onto my domain and figuring out how
And
to do that.
Just ask ChatGPT how it's done, and it'll give you step
Yeah,
by step.
exactly. That's what I'm kind of, well, I'm asking Bolt.new and it's giving me some guidance on that. And there's some videos out already. There's always someone that's recorded a video on how to do these things. So,
Yeah, it's an interesting space to be playing in. Like I mentioned, I'm starting a course on AI agents and implementing it for Google Ad stuff, but also learning how to build software. So that course will start mid-February. So I'm looking forward to that. It's run by someone who I look up to in kind of the Google Ad space, which is rare for me to say because there's probably I could count the number of people that I look up to in the Google Ad space on like one hand. Yeah, Mike Rhodes was kind of the guy that got me into Google Ads almost over 10 years ago. So I read a book that he wrote with Perry Marshall, and yeah, changed the whole trajectory of kind of my career and my life. So yeah, whenever he brings out courses or content, no matter what it is, like I'll just sign up and do it.
No, that's good. Yeah, I mean, I haven't explored much of his stuff, but I know that he comes highly recommended from you. You always mention him, don't you?
Yeah, he's just a down to earth person who genuinely wants to help the people that he's teaching, and he creates like amazing content and really good actionable stuff. So it's someone that I've followed for a very long time. He's recently sold out of the agency space, so his Google ad agency he's now sold out of, which I think was good timing for him because he's basically gone all in on AI now and building tools to help the Google Ads community through like his AI knowledge now. So, and now I'm reaping the benefits of what he's learning in AI. So yeah, it's been great.
Yeah.
But yeah, if anyone's interested in that stuff, Mike's course, if you're listening to this week, it's on 80agent.com/build. So yeah, you can check out his course there if that's something that interests you, especially in the AI space, what's coming, how you can build things with it. I'll be in there. And yeah, a couple of our mutual friend Nick will be in there as well, Charles. Yeah, there's a couple of guys that are jumping in this to check it out. So yeah, I have a feeling it'll definitely be worthwhile. I just wanted to touch on something that you mentioned before, SEO fundamentals. So I think you're right. I think you'll find a lot of businesses are missing it. And I know one of my clients for one, is missing it. And I'm talking specifically about collection descriptions. It's like, it's not so much that they don't know that they're missing it. They know. It's just like, how do you find time? Like, where are they going to find the time to write these, 200 plus collection descriptions that they're missing? I think that's the challenge at the moment for especially a lot of bootstrapping e-commerce founders, even the larger ones. AI is definitely helping in that regard in terms of they can spit out the content quickly. Yeah, I think when you're looking at AI fundamentals and it's missing, and say you are missing like 300 product descriptions, like in your mind when you see that, what's the kind of time frame to getting that sorted out, would you say?
I think first I'd be focusing on what the main priority pages are. I mean, literally, I had a discussion with a client earlier, and one of the things that I want to get more clarity on from them this year is what's the priority here? Like what products, what collections do you really want to sell the most of? Because fundamentally, you know my job as well as yours is we want to get the best return for our clients. We want to drive more revenue, and that might mean focusing on a smaller amount of pages on the site to drive the most amount of impact and revenue. So I would be first figuring out, okay, what collections currently are the best performing, and then making sure that those descriptions are on there as well, first and foremost. And then I'd be looking at maybe underperforming pages that they want to focus on, the client wants to focus on, but for whatever reason at the moment, they're not ranking well in Google. So then that would be the next priority. So I think it's having a priority list fundamentally, first and foremost.
Where do the opportunity categories come in? Because that's kind of where I'm focusing on at the moment in terms of, we kind of touched on it last week where we're kind of, this is a supplement company and we're looking at influencers in the space, and then any products or anything that they've talked about, we're creating a category under that person's name saying this person has spoken about these particular products, podcasts or on their socials or things like that. So we're building out categories based on, I guess, personalities, mainly because we've seen a really good kind of impact for that. But I guess from what you said, like looking at the highest performing and underperforming, those kind of opportunities aren't going to pop up in kind of that order. It's more like what other area, because what I'm getting for this particular client, we tried it and now it's their highest performing collection. And it's not even close. It's outperforms the homepage. It's like,
Yeah.
it's
Which is rare, by the way.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's significantly, it's by far like their highest performing page. Where, I mean, these kind of things can be missed when you're auditing what traffic they're getting already. They might have the opportunity to grab a whole lot of other traffic. They're just not even aware of the opportunity yet. Where does that kind of fit in for, I guess, an SEO? Like, do they do the research for that, or is it Is it client side to give that feedback, or
No,
where would that fit in?
yeah, I think, when I'm looking at it, I'm delving first into their Google Search Console and I'm looking for, opportunity areas there with keyword queries that they're getting clicks for already. And then I'm delving into that page and seeing, okay, is this page properly optimized for that keyword that they're already getting impressions for or clicks for? How much further can we optimize the page to further boost the performance of that keyword? Are there any keywords that they are getting impressions for but not clicks for that we can include within that page? And there's a number of different things that we can look at. I also like to compare like year on year, so looking at different periods. Say, for example, January 2025 versus January 2024, which keywords have performed better, which keywords have performed like underperformed, and then looking at those underperformed keywords and seeing what we can do to make some improvements there.
I think
So it's kind of
I think it would be a really cool tool, like using the search console, like exporting that data into a Google Sheet and then having like a software that just analyzes that and basically from the data gives you like your next 5 blogs that you should do based on this or areas you should focus, because the search console data is basically AI can analyze that now. So I mean there's I think it gives you what, 1,000, does it give you up to 1,000 kind of search queries?
yeah,
um
yeah, the top
yeah,
thousand,
it's
yeah.
like little tools like that are going to be so helpful. I mean, it's what I use kind of scripts and data analysis for in Google Ads at the moment to find those trends and to kind of help me analyze large amounts of data. I'm talking some of my clients have like 45,000 products. So it's basically analyzing those, seeing how much is being spent on each product, what the kind of return on ad spend is for each product, segmenting those. Like if I had to do that manually, it would take days, but having these tools that can analyze that quickly, give you the data you're looking for. I'd be interested to see how AI would go in like analyzing that and like suggesting trends. I haven't tested it yet, but that would kind of be I'm blown away with even ChatGPT at the moment, so I'm sure it would come up with something interesting. It's just how useful it would be, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm trying to, at the moment, I'm trying to look at how I can integrate AI into my service delivery. I'm actually using AI more at the moment for marketing purposes. Um, one another tool that I can't live without now is Claude.ai, and like just simple things like taking my Facebook posts and cleaning those up and making them a little bit more crisp, or converting it into my weekly newsletter. Or I even tried the other day, Jimmy, and so I took the transcribes from one of our chats and I've
Yeah.
converted that into a summary of the episode with some action steps and like
Nice,
recommendations.
that's cool.
So like little things like that, what can I do to you know produce more content that could be more valuable to mine and our audience? But yeah, need to figure out how I can integrate, because sometimes with how I deliver my services, it's still quite a lot of analysis and manually kind of doing these things step by step. What can I do to kind of automate more of that process? Or certainly the when I'm actually executing and delivering on certain tasks, like even things like internal linking between pages, like is having tools set up where it gives you recommendations or it's able to automatically create an internal link from a collection description through to a product page would be amazing. And I'm sure there's probably tools out there already. It's just
Spencer Hawes had a good one for WordPress called Link Whisperer, but I
yeah,
think I tested it on Shopify, and I don't think their Shopify version is as good as their WordPress version. That was probably 6 months ago. I'm not sure if they've improved it or not, but I mean, with AI now, like the barrier to develop something like that would be, much, much lower. Maybe you can create your own internal link building thing for Shopify. I think a lot of people with blogs would definitely use it. I tested Spencer's on WordPress, and I think it still needed a little bit of work to kind of get to the level that it was at for WordPress. But yeah, I think the movement of all these little kind of apps and SaaS products that are going to help people move the needle, like they're just because people that have these ideas now, they're not kind of limited. There isn't a barrier of development if they can create like the minimal viable product and then get it out. The barrier to entry is much, much lower. I think you're going to find kind of SaaS companies either lowering their prices or creating a lot more value in some capacity to justify the price of these monthly subscription SaaS services. So I think you'll find players entering all spaces in SaaS at an alarming rate this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, literally just this week I cancelled my SEO Rush subscription because I just felt for the cost, it didn't make sense. And I've kind of looking at more cost effective alternatives, using more AI tools into the SEO analysis that I'm doing. Yeah, I think you're 100% right. SaaS is certainly going to get more and more commoditized, and
I love it for specifically for ecom. Like, there's a lot of cool little SaaS products that are coming out that are really helping business owners with their stores, helping with sales, helping with marketing, helping with SEO, helping with every part of it, like shipping rate prices, all these little SaaSes are popping up. The annoying thing is for business owners though, like they need this app, then they try this app, then they have this app. Before you know it, they've got 20 apps on their store, and if they're paying, I don't know, $5 to $30 each for them, they start to add up quickly. I think that's the concern for business owners. But I think as this year progresses, you'll kind of find more full suite kind of alternatives. But yeah, all those current prices of the ones out there will drop. But yeah, I mean, they're coming, they're helping e-commerce stores. E-commerce stores should know what's out there and what's coming, or at least be testing a few of these out, especially if they're struggling in particular areas. Yeah, I think even so you mentioned the fundamentals of SEO. I think the fundamentals of ecom is having your traffic source, having a high converting website, and having your automated email marketing flows. That is like the lowest hanging fruit for ecom. And when I say your traffic sources, that includes everything from paid ads to Facebook ads to SEO to anything that's going to bring someone to your store. And yeah, I think and they're kind of you need a good website too. You don't want to be bringing if your website's converting at 3%, every 100 people that come through you're getting 3 sales. If your website's converting at 5%, every 100 people that come through you're getting 5 sales. So it's a big difference when you're dealing with tens of thousands of visitors to your site. So it's definitely worth. People always ask, "Oh, Jimmy, what's the benchmark? What's the benchmark?" And even between industries, it varies greatly. And honestly, it's going to depend on the price of your product too. If you've got a really kind of low priced item, your website should convert way higher than someone trying to sell like a Rolex or a really premium type product, because it's going to be a particular buyer and you'll get a lot of window shoppers for premium products. But if yours is like an impulse buy product, the conversion rate, should be at the absolute minimum between 6 to 8% minimum for an impulse buy quick product. If you're kind of generally speaking, I usually feel that a website is converting well if it's at 5%, like benchmark. If you're converting at 3%, it's usually okay, but I see a lot converting at 1%. And if it's at 1%, there's something wrong. Like the website's either too slow, the user experience isn't great, the traffic that you're bringing in from paid isn't specific enough. And I usually find these are the huge sites. Like I work with a car parts company, and the conversion rate's just so low. And I went on the website the other day, and every time I clicked on a collection, it was like an error page, and it's just like, oh, it was a user experience nightmare.
yeah, interesting. But I think that might be an industry issue because actually I was having this conversation with my client earlier in the automobile. They sell parts of trucks, parts and accessories, and they've got a very low conversion rate. Quite honestly, there's just so much clutter on the site, and it's figuring out how to simplify things. I think the problem is A lot of e-commerce stores, they focus so much attention on let's drive more and more traffic. Like it's always a traffic problem when actually they don't take the time to really invest in CRO, so conversion rate optimization, and looking and testing to see, okay, what's working, what's not. If you ask the average e-commerce owner, like, okay, do you know how people navigate around your site? Like, yeah, we installed a heat map software, but when's the last time you looked at it? I don't know, 6 months ago. Like they've no idea kind of. And I think that's one of the biggest problems. And I see that whether it's a small store or whether it's a large store, and actually the larger stores is usually the problem.
It's mainly because so many people have worked on it that no one really knows what bits are doing what. It's like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and people that have worked on some of the site have since left, and then other people are taking on, and they're just built. It's like Lego, and someone started the Lego piece, and then someone new's come in with no idea what the end goal is, and they've just started building their vision, and it's just like there's stuff everywhere. Um, and when you talked about, you're right, a lot of clients are like, oh, we just need more traffic. But picture this, like if they're spending $10,000 on ads and they're like, okay, we want to double our traffic, you'd have to spend $20,000 on, and that doesn't necessarily guarantee doubling the conversion. Sometimes it drops off after a certain, like if you're collecting all the lowest hanging fruits and then you raise your budget and you're going more broad, then there's like diminishing returns. Some like those kind of paid ads. And then if you think about it, so they could spend an extra $10,000 ads, or they could spend, I don't know, like $5,000 and get a really good conversion rate optimization user experience person in that takes their conversion rate from 1 to 3%, and they would have far better results on the same ad spend versus if they were to double the ad spend. The money spent on conversion rate optimization would still equate to more sales.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think it's one area which not enough e-commerce stores invest in. It's quite rare that I'll find a client that has a CRO expert on the team or an agency that they've hired. So yeah, it's definitely an area which is very underutilized for sure.
I think like Ben, who comments in the Shopify Marketing Secrets group every now and then, like he's big on reading into data and stats. I'm okay with that, like as a general overview, but I prefer people like get their own data and stats, because even the other day he was quoting some stats to me, but I was like, yeah, but what percentage of people did this and what percentage of people did that? Like, you can't just take the data that you're reading from studies at face value. There's other variables to consider. You really need to be doing your own testing.
Yeah, agreed.
And because we were having a discussion about the shop payment app, I was saying like how important it's been for my clients, and he was saying, oh, the percentage of Australian users that use it is only like 6%, and I was like, yeah, but what's the user percentage of the sites that actually have it on there? And it's you can look at data and read it however you want, but yeah, there's always the data, and you just have to look at politics to know this. The data can be skewed and talked about however you want. You can always angle it to make it look good. I mean, you could take politics, for example. You could have 48 pages of the worst news in the world, and there's one line in there that might say something's good, and the politician that wants to shine a good light on it will run with that one line of the whole report. So take other people's data with a grain of salt. I'd be using first party data percentages to guide your decisions, not the decisions of larger corporate companies that have apparently done a lot of research. I would use it as a guide, but I wouldn't be using it to make any like drastic business decisions.
Yeah, no, nothing's better than testing. For sure. It's funny when you way that so you with your Australian accent say data, I say data. So it always something that one of our old mentors always used to go, look at the data, and I like always used to
It's
make
like
me
when
laugh.
when we talk about like the internet boxes that connect to the modems, like we call them routers, and I think you guys call them routers.
Routers, yeah. Funny enough, actually, talking about accents. So we're recording here on Riverside.fm for anyone that great piece of software, and they have this new feature where you can take your voice and you can basically input whatever you want the your voice to say, AI voice. So I tested it out and I played it back and I was like, it kind of sounds like me, but with an Australian accent. I must be spending too much time with you, Jimmy. I'm obviously turning into an Aussie.
It's funny.
Yeah, I'll have to send you I'll send you a link to the clip.
Yeah, please do. Post it on the YouTube channel. But
No,
yeah,
but yeah, you're right.
take how do you say it? Data. Take
Data,
data with a
data.
grain of salt, and get your own and make your own decisions. The other thing I wanted to chat about was because I've seen it today, like unbelievable. Like the mindset of e-commerce founders that just want to do well and speed of execution. Speed of execution is the number one thing that separates the brands that I work with, the successful ones, from the unsuccessful ones. And when I talk about speed of execution, I'm also talking about like speed of being able to get some clients on a call too. So some clients will take me 2 months to get them on a call just to cover one thing. And some clients will book in their monthly call with me religiously. And then I was speaking to that particular client, Charles, about what we were discussing last week about bulk content. And I was like, you could do this because you've got all these celebrities that wear your stuff. Start a blog post about this celebrity wearing this at this location. I hung up from that call, and 5 minutes later, she sent me a blog. Hey, Jimmy, is this blog all right? And it was like 1,000 words.
Amazing.
She must have had the
Yeah.
content lying around somewhere already. But she had images and everything. I was like, this is perfect. Just smash out another 20 of those and let's reevaluate in a couple of months, see what kind of traffic's coming through. So, I mean, that's the difference. That will be bringing in sales without a doubt within the next couple of months. And then you've got other e-commerce founders that will be saying for months that, oh, we've got to implement a blog, and it might be 2 years.
Yeah.
And by that stage, by the time they've started implementing it, this client that I've just spoken to today, they'll be making tens of thousands of dollars off the content that they've created in 2 years' time. And yeah, it's just speed of execution, but also knowing what items are going to be the highest leverage for you too. So some e-commerce founders can implement quickly, but they implement on all the wrong things that just don't matter. We spent this week doing a new logo. Great. Like that's not going to do nothing. Like
Yeah,
for
yeah.
for no one. It might change the branding slightly, but yeah, you can have high speed of execution on the wrong things. The ones that get it right are high speed of execution on high leverage activities. They're the ones that I look up to. I'm like, wow, you operate quickly, and it makes me want to operate on another level for them. If they're operating that quickly, I'm just like, I want to ride on this train with them and just shoot their results through the roofs. I don't necessarily feel like that with the clients that I'm trying to get onto for 3 months. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
if they
no.
don't even want to talk about this, like I'll just keep doing what I can to get them the maximum results. But there's not that synergy between owner and they need to be talking to their marketing team. If you're running an e-commerce business and you're hiring an agency and you're neglecting talking to them, can guarantee they'll be spending less time on your account than if you were to chat to them regularly, share ideas, help them, help you grow. The synergy between the clients that I have regular chats with and the ones that I find it really difficult to get in contact with, it's a different level of operations. And I don't like to say that, but it's just true.
So right. Yep.
If you're able to like jump on a call with me and cover the things that we need to cover, I can understand where you're going, where you want to go, and I can help you get there. But yeah, it's like if you're listening to this and you're an e-commerce store owner and you operate quickly, you're going to be ahead of 95% of the other businesses, especially it's like a trade war on tariffs going on at the moment. There seems to be a lot of opportunity for a lot of people in different spaces. The ones that are going to make a lot of money have already begun planning their strategy around that and making moves already. Um, Yeah,
Yeah, there's
there's a lot of money to be made in speed of execution, definitely on
couldn't
high
agree
leverage
more.
activities.
And the point that you mentioned about, there's nothing worse than coming to the client with a whole list of recommendations, and then you either don't hear back from them or they never get round to actually executing on that. And yeah, it's you're 100% right. Those that you need to be in not constant communication, but certainly regular communication with your marketing agency, because
And
that's
like,
where they're going to give you the best possible results.
and I can say this truthfully too, like the clients that have regular contact with me, like they get a lot of out of scope consulting. Like I chat about other things that they can be doing to improve their business, and I chat about other things that we're testing. So they get a lot more insight from me about what's kind of working at the moment with other clients and other things that we're testing. The ones that I find really hard to get onto, the chats are always only specific to that service. Because it's usually the only time I've got to cover that off with them. So we don't even get to like explore other growth opportunities or even discuss kind of strategies at a higher level of what's kind of working. So I think it's so important if you're a business owner and you're hiring someone to do your marketing, make it a priority to at least have monthly check-ins with them. At a minimum. So how I operate, I send clients their monthly performance reports. They can book in for me to have a chat about the reports and then just strategy and everything else that we want to cover. But I also have an open calendar that they can use throughout the month if they just want to have an additional strategy call. I've only had the whole time, so over 10 years, I've only had one client abuse that where they were just booking calls like every 3 days.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's and that like I like conversations with my clients, but this particular one just kept asking the same questions and didn't action any of the advice or calls. So it was frustrating. I ended up parting ways with them last year, which was annoying because it was like a high value account, but for my sanity, I was just like, oh, I can't do this anymore. Like
That's
it's
not worth it.
taking up too much time and mental space that I could be using elsewhere. So um but yeah, I like to get the most out of your account managers, the absolute minimum once a month. Some marketing agencies, depending on what you're actually working on, will give you weekly reports. Like my clients have live reports, so they can go in and check the reports if they don't want to check the platform themselves. But yeah, like you're paying them to work on your account, so the more you and these guys are typically working on a lot of accounts and seeing what's working, what's not. So the more you can kind of pick of their knowledge and figure out ways that you can grow. You should do it. Usually there's a reason that you've hired who you've hired. Although in saying that, some people just go to large agencies and then they're stuck with a junior that couldn't care less. So I mean, they're hard to work with. But find yourself a good freelancer or a niche marketing agency that focus on a particular area. And yet grow with them. They're seeing their clients get amazing results because they use them as case studies a lot of the time. So, yeah, if they're looking at you and like, this guy's a fast operator, if I implement this, I know it's going to kill it for him and we'll be able to, get them some really good results. Yeah, make sure you're having regular chats with whoever's doing your marketing. And if you're doing it yourself, just make sure you're holding yourself to that standard of being a fast operator. So, yeah, the number one difference between I'm just thinking now. My most successful clients, I always speak to regularly, and I don't think it's because they speak to me regularly. I think it's because they care about their business and they care about the marketing, and they make time to have these discussions, and that flows into everything else and how they operate their business. The ones that I never hear from, it's just like their growth is just slightly increasing, where it could potentially do the hockey sticks growth if they were more invested in the marketing side.
And I think also it's important because if you're offering one particular area of marketing, like for example, SEO doesn't work in isolation. Like it's impacted by what's happening on the website, potentially the client's investing in some PR, which can have an impact on links. If you're not getting as that agency or freelancer, if you're not able to find out from the client what else they're doing. How can you provide the most amount of value and suggestions and recommendations if you're just left in the dark to do your certain aspect of marketing? You're never going to get the maximum results by doing that. And yeah, I think e-commerce brands need to make sure, like you said, that you're having those monthly check-ins with your agency.
The argument, like there'll be e-commerce owners listening to this and just be like, "Oh, I just don't have time to do that." My suggestion to you would be to make time. Like it's a high leverage activity, so something else can give. Like have a look at your day and see where you're wasting an hour, and substitute it out with a high leverage chat with someone that can give you high leverage results. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean everyone's got an hour a month. Like
yeah.
the amount of times people waste on things that are non-productive. Everyone's got at least an hour a month to have
It's
a sit down.
always the ones that are just getting by that are always so busy and never have enough time to do anything. The ones that are actually quite successful, the owners like always can make time for things that they value. So yeah, it's like, oh, I don't have time. I'm so, oh, that's funny. I think we all have the same 24 hours in a day, so you can make time if this is important to your business. In saying that, so honestly, I don't want to say that and come across like running an e-commerce business is hard, and even on the marketing side, like I get overwhelmed some weeks just with the pure amount of work that needs to be done. So I'm sympathetic in that regard to e-commerce owners. Like there's a lot of work to be done, and the job's never done, and there's always things to improve, and everything that they want to do costs more money, and it's just like, yeah, it's just this compounding effect. So if you are paying money for things already, then get the most out of it. So I think that's the place that I'd probably start.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. No, it's certainly not an easy. It's certainly not an easy business. There's a lot of moving parts with e-commerce.
No, I stay away from logistics. That's why I'm in marketing. I don't like logistics, but my clients that can pull logistics off what seems like seamlessly. It's a skill in my repertoire that I don't have, the logistics side. It's purely why we focus on marketing chats here, because what I know and it's what I'm good at.
Yeah, yeah, same here. Good start, Jim. Anything else that you've been working on this week that you want to share with the?
I'm still building out the email marketing service offering. That's been taking up a lot of my time, just perfecting that, building out the we're working on a case study client at the moment. That case study should hopefully be done by the end of March. But yeah, just finalizing the systems. We've got all the emails for the flows, just working out our campaign systems. Because when you think about email, like some brands get worried about sending 3 to 4 emails a week. We're going to flood our, clients' inboxes. Honestly, like if you had a look in my inbox, which is probably quite typical, if you're sending 3 a week, there's probably like 400 emails between the ones that you're sending. So I think brand owners get in their head that, I send 4 emails and yeah, the person's just going to log into their email account and there are the 4 emails from your brand and they're the only 4 emails in their whole inbox. And they're like, oh, who's these people spamming me? Like, those brand owners need to wake up. And it's like, and how many emails are in their inbox? If you're not front of mind, then especially for high repeat businesses like supplement brands and consumables, food, like drinks, even all that kind of the consumable stuff where they're highly likely to come back again, you need to stay top of mind. And yeah, you do those through kind of campaign emails. So campaign emails are the ones that are sent manually and they're kind of time relevant, like upcoming sales, like Valentine's is coming up in 3 days. So you might have a Valentine's sale. When we talk about email marketing flows, flows are like automated emails that is triggered by an event that someone does on your website. So, for example, if someone's added all these products to the checkout and they've got to the checkout, but they haven't completed the purchase, after X amount of time, they'll get an email saying something along the lines, hey, you've left X and X in your cart, like come through and complete your order. So they're automated emails and there's like a flow for that, and that's the difference between kind of when we talk about email flows and email campaigns. The campaigns are manually sent, the flows are kind of automatically sent based on a action that someone's taken on your website.
That makes sense. And are you using any AI for creating the copy, or are you writing it first and then tweaking with AI? Is there anything that...
The good thing about email is the copy is so short, so it's a little bit like Google Ads. So we are using AI, but not to write the whole thing. It's more like, hey, give me 40 examples of like a subject line for this email, and then I'll pick the one that I like. So it's not so much writing the copy, it's more idea generation, and then be like, yeah, that's the one. But it's like that for everything: the body copy, the headline of the email, the call to action. It's more of a brainstorm, not having the AI writing it for you, but it to basically give you a whole bunch of examples, and then you can pick the one you like and tailor it slightly if it's needed. Sometimes when you're dealing with short copy, it's hard to tailor a 5 word or 6 word subject line, so you will just take what the AI is given and run. But yeah, more so for idea generation rather than writing whole email copy.
Makes sense. What are you using? Are you using ChatGPT, Claude? What's the go-to?
ChatGPT at the moment, and
Yeah.
there's a few agents that like high-level email copywriters have created. So like they're pre-trained on email copy and what converts. So you can use these agents and just ask them, and they basically provide subject lines, email copy based on what they've been programmed with by high-level email copywriters. So yeah, it's a good place to start. But the normal ChatGPT is pretty good too if you can kind of give it an outline of what you're looking for. But if you're not sure what to ask it or how to tailor it, then yeah, just find a free GPT inside ChatGPT that's already trained on that particular thing.
Talking about ChatGPT, actually, I was watching a video a couple of days ago about ChatGPT Operator, which completely blew my mind. It was basically a guy using it as a virtual assistant. So he was training up one of these AI agents, and he was like booking a reservation or making some suggestions on like, find me the best Italian restaurant in the city, send an email or send a WhatsApp. And I was like, this is just insane where it's going.
And it's
I
coming
also...
quick. Like, I mean, it's here now. Like, people are
Yeah.
testing it, but it's not fully mainstream yet. So if you can get into on it and leverage it, I like the one of our friends, Charles, from a shared community that we were both in, a business community. He just sent me an AI that he's been working on with a partner. It's basically like a sales agent, and
I was just...
you can put
I
in your
think it's the
phone
same
number
guy.
and it will call you and you can test it out. It's like, this is great. And yeah, it can sell stuff for you. And I was speaking to another mutual friend of ours, who had just generated this guy like 400 leads. And then when he had a chat with him, like he hadn't called any of them. That's what this AI will solve. Rather than a business owner not calling any of them, you can have the AI call 400 of them. And that could be, the difference between zero revenue and an extra, it could be a couple million depending on what service you're in. Um, yeah, the AI is definitely kind of filling those voids that especially bootstrap business owners don't want to tackle.
Yeah, I think actually the guy, the mutual friend of ours that you mentioned, I think it's the same guy. He sent me, yeah, the business, and he was talking in terms of e-commerce particularly. He was talking about how you could use it as a customer service line. So
Oh
they,
yeah, I didn't
yeah,
even
so
think of
people,
that.
yeah, so
But if people want to check it out, if it's the same one you were thinking of, Charles, the site was called johnni.ai. Is that the one you were
yeah,
looking at? I
yeah.
forget how they spell it though. It was like JOHNI or something like that. .ai. Just Google it. You should be able to find it.
We'll find it and put it in the
Yeah.
show
So
notes.
great guy behind the business too. Paul. He's a legend. So
Yeah, good guy.
I didn't even think of that for like e-commerce sales support. I was more thinking of people would use this for sales, but I didn't think about it from customer support. But that could be a really cool angle to test as well.
Yeah, yeah. No, he was mentioning it to me and suggested that was one avenue that they're exploring to help e-commerce brands. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Oh
to
well,
see how.
if he gets something up and running, we'll get him on, and he can chat about it and how he's using it, and we can test it out and do some examples. That would be a fun video, I think, to see where people can see like some AI that's coming in action.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I think that would be a great idea.
We'll send him this video, and we'll get him on in. He'll come on. We'll get him on in a week or two.
Yeah, yeah. So Paul, if you're listening,
But yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming, and on a, yeah, if people take anything away from this call today, speed of execution, and if you are doing a lot of tasks that aren't high leverage, just know that there's AI coming out at the moment that is going to help take that off your hands, in one way or another. I said this to one of my clients the other day too. I said, because he does a lot, like a lot of manual entry into like spreadsheets and things like that. It's like, mate, start writing down all these tasks that are taking you this long, and let's find ways to start automating it for you. I mean, it's not a small business either. They're doing just under $1 million a month. So, his time can 100% be better spent than in Excel spreadsheets, like just manually putting in barcodes and stuff like that.
yeah, I know. I mean, I was this interview that I did last week. Now, the digital digital PR agency owner. Yeah, his advice to people was like AI is the number one should be the number one priority for this year. Like establishing what you're currently doing and figuring out how you can automate certain tasks or how you can better leverage AI to further grow your business. I think he even suggests like cut the Netflix, cut wasting time scrolling on social media and invest an hour of your day to start learning and playing around with these AI tools.
I think
I think
it
yeah.
was on my goals list for this year, actually, 1 hour of education a night. But I do have to say most of that hour has been email marketing for this whole year. So I'm actually quite clued up on email marketing at the moment.
But you're learning still. That's
Yeah, like I've been doing it for probably 2 years, and I was doing it in house over 10 years ago. So it's evolved a bit since then. But yeah, just over the last 2 years, just been doing it at a basic level. But you really wanted to take it to like an elite kind of world class level this year. So just been consuming every piece of content on it that I can, running my own tests too. And yeah, I didn't think I'd find a kind of service that I enjoyed as much as Google Ads, but I am enjoying this. The only thing that I don't want to be that involved in is the actual design of the emails. So that's one part that I've got to sort out. And it's always been my issue too. Like I like doing the majority of my service offering myself so I can no, the quality's just assured if I'm doing it. Whereas, if I have to get other people, then there's that trust and there's the oversight, and it's something that I need to work on to obviously grow in the level of business that I want to get to. But yeah, I think the next part for me is kind of building out that small team for the email marketing service.
well. I think we like I said we talked a lot again about AI this week, but I think we're going to see the rise of the one person business. I really do. I think there's never been a greater time now to start a business um, and scale it with either just yourself or a very a lean team, a small amount of people.
Maybe I'll solve my own design issues and create an AI agent that can design Figma designs for email marketing.
Well, there you go.
I'll, I'll I'll just feed it like 200 examples from every like different email in the flow and be like, design it like this, design it like this, design it like that, and see how it goes. Yeah, the design side I'd like to get sorted out soon. I think it's close, but yeah, we'll see it. We'll see how that goes.
Good stuff. Well, yeah, look forward to
How are
seeing
you
that.
going, Charles? In because we spoke a couple of weeks ago about the service offering about advertorials. Have you advanced much on that?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm still trying to figure out whether I offer it as a standalone service or as a either as an add-on or as part of our core SEO offering.
I think standalone definitely one to give you more options for people that don't necessarily want to commit to like an SEO offering, and also gives you a foot in the door, but it also gives you a service to sell for people that may not be interested in like the whole SEO service too. So
Yeah, that's a
something
good
I've
point.
been listening to a lot of podcasts lately, and I've started to realize, especially in the agency world, like I've always been, especially for Google Ads, like I work with a very particular type of client, and if they don't fit that mold, then I don't work with them. But what I'm learning is like I can have other like courses or things that lower level people can learn from, like that I might charge like $50 for, but it's still like additional revenue for not much work. And I was listening specifically to email marketing, and they were talking about a similar thing. The guy was talking about, I never wanted to do the one-off flow builds. I only wanted the people that wanted to work with us on a retainer for longer term. But the minute he shifted that around and started taking off the one-off builds, a lot of the time he built such a good relationship with them that they brought him on for the ongoing stuff. But also the one-off builds are like cost a lot more. So it was like they were able to generate, $6,000 to $10,000 build out for the automated flows, and every one of those that came through was revenue that they would have said no to previously. So yeah, it makes a big difference having another service offering outside your main, and it's something that I've been thinking about a lot this week.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
But yeah, we've almost come to another. I like this. I like to say this, e-commerce marketing chats. Sometimes it just feels like Jimmy and Charles's weekly catch up. But yeah, no, I hope we can. I hope we can provide as much value. Like honestly, if someone's out there listening and they we haven't had any recommendations for content in a while. So if someone came in the group and it's like, hey, Jimmy and Charles, can you just talk about this week? Charles and I will talk about it for the whole hour and give you as much value on a particular topic as you want. So if you are listening to this and you're struggling with something in ecom, or you want advice from two people who have pretty much seen everything in the industry, put it in the Facebook group at Shopify Marketing Secrets. I have to second guess. I always go to say the old name, but Shopify Marketing Secrets it is now on Facebook. Come in, say hi. If you need some help on marketing specifically, because I see in other groups some people come in and they ask about, oh, how do I fix my shipping rates, or what carriers are you guys using? Like that's more logistics stuff. We don't really cover that in our group, so it's more driving traffic to your site and how to convert that better, and the marketing side of e-commerce. We're not the group for logistics, but we are the group for marketing. So if you've got any questions, jump in there, come say hi, let us know what you want us to discuss on the next call, and we'll cover it in great depth.
I'm into that.
I
All right, guys.
think that rounds us out for this week. We'll see you guys next week.